right. Hello. Can you guys hear me? OK. All right. So let's spend the next 10 to 15 minutes reading the slide. No, I'm just kidding. So this is our safe harbor slide. Just please glance through it. So my name's Karishma Irani. I am one of the product managers for New Relic Infrastructure. So if any of you have used infrastructure, you've probably seen my face pop up with a little intercom widget on the side, asking you for polls. So I have been with New Relic for almost 2 years now, working on the infrastructure product primarily, but also working really closely with the rest of the product managers, some of which I have up here with me. So we have Diego, who is heavily focused on enterprise-level features, including RBAC, which we will talk about shortly. And we also have Mia, who recently joined New Relic as the New Relic Insights PM. And for any of you who are not familiar with Insights, it's a really cool tool. So I highly recommend grabbing Mia after this presentation, asking her a ton of questions, also stopping by the booth and checking it out. Cool. So let's get started. So enterprise love. I am going to try to keep buzzwords at a minimum for this. So what exactly is the problem? Let's start by understanding the problem. When you're an enterprise-level company, not only do you have to deal with tens of thousands of entities and a complex infrastructure hosting thousands of applications, but you also have to support a large scale of customers and be available and be up and meet complex, highly achieving SLAs. So with enterprise companies, what we don't realize is not only is it really cool to scale up to the enterprise level, but it comes with its own challenges of maintaining large amounts of data, having to sift through this data to find the complexity and to reduce the noise and find the things you care about. And of course comes security, compliance, and all of these requirements that help you function and scale at the enterprise level. So this is where New Relic comes in. New Relic is heavily focused on helping our enterprise customers scale and succeed. And in order to make this possible, we will discuss 3 key themes today. The first is how teams function at scale. The second is how these teams can operate at scale using New Relic. And the third is how, by using New Relic, these teams can operate and create visibility at scale amongst their customers and within the organization. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Diego to kick us off with how New Relic helps teams function at scale.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I'm pleased to see that I've met with almost everybody of you. So I'm in charge of this small initiative that we have here. It's called RBAC, Role-Based Access Control. It hasn't been highly requested, I can say. But really, it's all the contrary. So it's like it has been one of our top priorities inside the product organization during the last year. So I'm going to explain you today what have we built and what do we have in the short-term roadmap for it. So first of all, what we do consider a role-based access control. So basically, we want you to provide the tools to either associate fine-grained capabilities to your users and also automatically manage and provision them. I'm assuming that you have thousands of users if you're interested in the enterprise session, so I will show you how to do it better and faster. So first of all, let's talk about this feature that we released early in the summer, managed roles. Managed roles are really interesting because in the past, once you invited one of your team members to an account, you had to choose a role, and that role was always the same for all the products. For instance, you had an Android developer, you want that developer to be an admin for the mobile product, automatically that engineer was an admin for all the products. With managed roles, so you can assign specific permissions per user. For instance, so we have a ton of requests, and I don't want you to raise your hand because it will be huge of hands to count, but we had a ton of requests for, it's like, why do, if I want a user to manage alerts, I have to make the user an admin for all the products? So it's like, yeah, no need to know. It's like, it was my most requested feature. So now with managed roles, so you can assign a restricted role as a base role, and then you can extend the capabilities with other admin roles per product. But that wasn't enough for most of you, so that's why we released last week custom roles. With custom roles, you can really select fine-grained capabilities for the products. So what's the need here? What's a typical use case that I had a ton of requests for? Is, I have a ton of engineers. I want those engineers to manage APM, but I only want to users with a BP title or above to delete applications. Why? Because if someone deletes an application, we'll lose a ton of data. So few people should be able to do that. But for everything else, so please allow them to manage APM. So that's when custom roles come handy. So it's like, take a look to it. It's brand new from last week. It really allows you to go feature by feature, selecting users if they will be able to access it, which is allowed by default, update data from that feature, or delete data related to that feature. And now I'm not expecting less than a standing ovation for the next announcement. So we have in plans a user provision API. So we have, yeah, you are more than welcome. Yeah, please, yeah. Let's make an ovation. So it's like, I read your request. It's like when you say someone to your, like an executive or your CSM, so they forward that to me, I read them, and I know that this is the next big thing that you want us to develop. So we have already plans to work on that. So it's like, to work on this fine-grained access control. So we have worked on redoing most of our backend. So now we are ready to start tackling this ASAP. We have pre-selecting a scheme as the standard to work on. It's like, it's 90% sure it will be a scheme. I don't see now a reason to change it, but we're still working on the architectural plans. So in the future, instead of having this form that most of you hate because you have to type in users manually, you will have an API. So it's a REST API, an endpoint, you send a small JSON payload, and it's done. Okay, so let's talk a bit about how you should manage operations and scale. And again, so we'll have soon, I'm not expecting less than another ovation for audit login. So what do we plan to do? Yeah, so that's a working prototype. It's like, the other was a screenshot. That's a working prototype that we already have. It's audit login. Our products will be storing into a new insights event type data from the actions your users do into products. It will be every time your user creates something, updates something, and deletes something, we will record that. If something in the past you have wondered, it's like who modified that synthetics monitor, who deleted that alert condition, who deployed that app that is costing us a ton of money. You shouldn't be checking for that. In any case, so what we have here is like it will be a new insights event type. It should be fairly trivial for you to create a data app, as you see here, and easily, checking it, go to the production environment, action create, entity condition, and you will be able. So it will be fairly easy for you to filter and see who did what at a glance. And now it's, I will let Charisma.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead. Thank you. So if you're changing alerts...
Oops, please wait for the mic.
Okay, thank you. Actually, can we take questions at the end?
Okay, yeah, I think it will be better, so if we can wait until the end. Cool. So Charisma, please show us infrastructure.
Sure. So who here can tell me exactly which host, the host name, is hosting which of their applications? That's insane, right? We don't. So when enterprise companies operate at a large scale with a multi-cloud infrastructure, and you're automatically scaling up and down, you have containers that have a lifetime of 20 seconds, it's impossible to keep track of your entities. But at the end of the day, you want to tie all of this back to your applications and the business value and keep things up and running so you can meet your SLAs. And that's where New Relic Infrastructure comes in. So for those of you who are not familiar, New Relic Infrastructure is New Relic's infrastructure monitoring product that we launched last year at FutureStack in San Francisco. And Lou made some pretty exciting announcements this morning around AWS, Azure, on-host integrations that all reside within the New Relic Infrastructure product. So what New Relic Infrastructure does is focus everything around tags and labels. So basically abiding by the lexicon that you may have for your hosts and your infrastructure so that you don't need to think about individual hosts or individual entities. So through our EC2 integration, through our Docker integration, through our Azure integrations, New Relic Infrastructure automatically imports all your tags, labels, and metadata associated with your instances and entities so that when you create filtered views, when you create alert conditions, you create them based off tags and labels that you care about. And it automatically adds and removes hosts from these alert conditions and these views as they come online or go offline. So for example, if I care about monitoring my Kafka cluster in one of my AZs for CPU utilization, I can simply create a CPU utilization alert condition based on the tags EC2 tag role Kafka and AZ equals US East. And it's automatically going to apply that alert condition to any instances that get added to this cluster in the future and or go offline away from it. In addition to that, we also know how much our users love logging into the UI for every tiny thing. Not a lot. So in order to increase the flexibility and to make creating alert conditions and managing your performance a little more flexible for you, we have alerting APIs that span across our entire platform and entire product suite across all the products. So our alerting APIs, which we recently launched one for New Relic Infrastructure, it's a REST API, highly recommend going and checking it out, completely tag-driven. Our alerting APIs allow you to integrate these alert conditions or the structure to create these alert conditions within your CI/CD tools, within any of your config management AMIs that you may have running, so that every time you spin up a new cluster, you can literally replicate that call and apply the same alert conditions to that new cluster. And the same for your applications. So CRUDing alert conditions is made easy using our APIs. Cool. So with Diego's exciting announcements around RBAC and user provisioning APIs and audit logging, we know how your teams, your enterprise teams can function at scale. And using our dynamic tagging capabilities and APIs, your teams can operate at scale. So I'm now going to hand it over to Mia to explain to us how New Relic Insights and NRDB helps us create visibility amongst our organizations at scale.
Thanks, Krishma. So how many people in the audience have more than 5 accounts? Raise your hand. Thank you. More than 10 accounts? Okay, so some of you. So a lot of our customers use a multi-account model to segment by teams, departments, and business units. And that's really great, like I said, for segmenting data, but not really when you have to see that data together and compare that data. And so I'm going to extrapolate a little bit on what Lou talked about in the keynote, Companywide Dashboards. So we released this back in July, and we are still talking about it because we're still very excited about it. What this essentially allows you to do is see data from multiple accounts on one dashboard, regardless of the account structure. And that, again, kind of is revolutionary, I think, for New Relic because we haven't seen a lot of that so far in our products. So what this essentially, again, allows you to do is pin charts to dashboards across accounts. So when you run a query and see a result and have the ability to, you have the ability to pin to this chart or pin to another chart. And you can actually choose the account and the dashboard within the account to pin that chart. You can also easily switch source accounts. So we've made this easier than ever. You no longer have to go up to the global account switcher to change the source account. So you can do that directly from the NRFL bar, which makes creating these dashboards and pulling data from multiple accounts super fast and super easy. You just drop it down, choose your account, run your query, pin your chart. Do it over and over again as many times as you need. And so what we've also done is tried to create a consistent experience across the products. So previously, when you were in APM or mobile and you wanted to pin a chart to Insights, you were restricted to pinning to the account that you were logged into. But now you're presented with the same modal selection as you are in Insights. So from any of the other products, you can choose the account and, again, the dashboard that you want to pin that chart to. So again, we're trying to create very consistent experience across all of our products. And finally, we make it really easy to see where your data is coming from. So this is an example of a dashboard that has data for multiple accounts. As you can see, right underneath the title, next to the time window, you can see exactly where that data is coming from. So it's super quick, super easy, and has a whole lot of value, especially for allowing enterprise to have visibility at scale. So I am also very pleased to announce that our dashboard API is in beta starting today. So as I talk about this, if it piques your interest, you can sign up for the beta at the Insights booth whenever you get around to that, and we'd love to have more beta participants. So we know that API-led connectivity is super important to enterprise. It allows you guys to move quicker and faster and deliver products, and that's, of course, what we want to allow you to do. And so this dashboard API allows you to programmatically control creates, reads, updates, and deletes throughout your organization. And you're able to codify these dashboards using a JSON schema, store that in your code base, and really kind of control those functions whenever you want. And whether you want kind of federated management throughout the organization, kind of single source of truth, or you want kind of a place for best in show dashboards, templates from different teams, this dashboard API really fits all the needs in between. And what we're trying to do is remove some of the manual management so our enterprise customers can continue to move quicker, faster, and at scale.
Thanks, Mia. So I hope it's evident that the common theme amongst these features is that it simplifies our users' workflows. It reduces the time, as Mia mentioned, of manually having to create a ton of things, replicate the work, duplicate the work. So the common theme amongst these things is that it's for our enterprise customers. It's to help them use New Relic at an enterprise scale and to support their enterprise level customers. In addition to the features that we just spoke about, we also have other enterprise best practices, some of which are listed on the slide here. But we also have health maps. We have a ton of more APIs. Our infrastructure integrations SDK, which we have sessions about later today, so highly recommend checking that out. And of course, lastly, we hope for all of these features, and we strive to make every feature we work on make sense and fit organically into the New Relic Digital Intelligence platform, so that when our customers adopt the New Relic Digital Intelligence platform, it creates a seamless experience for them to switch between these products and to switch across accounts. So with that, we're happy to take any questions now. Mike.
Oh.
I know you had one right over here. I'll go right to you first.
So on that new audit feature, if say you're changing New Relic alert conditions using the API, is that going to show up as an API change, or how will that work?
Internally, yes. So we plan to track those things. So what we will track is actions that you do inside the platform. So if you create an alert condition, that will be logged. But if an alert is triggered, it's not something that we are considering for this iteration.
I'm not talking about if a violation or an event happens, just the condition itself. So a change in the condition, like you've changed the threshold.
Yeah, and also it's like, let me go back to my slide to show you something that I forgot to told you about. Sorry. But I think that it's important to share it. Oh, here. So as you can see here, the latest column, the last column is called before. So we will.
I may have to walk up to it.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's. So it's called before. What does that mean? That we have an attribute when we will be store a JSON with the previous information that that entity had. So you will be able to do some kind of manual rollback based on the data there. So, But again, so this is a small prototype. So if you have a specific request for that, so I will be around today and tomorrow.
Okay.
So feel free to come to me.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Other questions? Anybody? Okay.
Is this audit log able to be shipped out to like a Splunk?
I cannot commit to a date as a good PM, but you can see a prototype, so it's coming. So it's a prototype, not a screenshot. So that's all.
Any other questions? Anybody? Anybody? It's their last chance.
At the end.
Oh, there you go. Knew there had to be one lurking over here.
Will the audit log events show up in the event log in APM, for example?
No, I mean, it's like this again, so it's like for actions that create, update, and delete actions from your users, not for any other things.
And one more over here.
So you mentioned that the audit logging is going to be stored in Insights. So can we query it through the Insights Query API? Okay.
Yeah, that's the point. So it will be a new event type. So of course it won't count against your quota. So it will be provided for free. And retention will be based on the plan that you are in. So we're still considering that.
No more questions?
So there's a ton of demand I see for this feature. So.
All right, thank you all. Hello? Yeah, sorry. Thank you all for attending this session. You can find each of us at the booths, our respective product booths, and please come talk to us. We definitely love hearing from our customers. As you can see, a lot of these features have been incepted by direct feedback that we've received from our customers. So stop by, bury us with requests. We love it. Thank you.